So, hi everybody. My name is Trisha, and I'm really excited and very grateful for you guys to be joining me in the last part. And for anybody who's new here, since I know there's a couple of new people, we're just, whole goal of this is to teach you guys the basics of cybersecurity and how to stay safe online. And unfortunately, this is our last session today, but we're still going to be going over a lot of content, and we're going to be talking about cyber threats, the future of cybersecurity, and even cybersecurity careers that any one of you guys might be interested in. And so, like usual, it won't be me just talking. There will be many opportunities for you guys to ask questions if you have any, and just talk, communicate in the group chat. So, yeah. All right. So, again, this is our last session, and this is just part of my larger webinar series, which is meant for anyone of any age who wants to learn more about cybersecurity. And yeah, and if anyone missed the first couple sessions, I do have both of the recordings that are up on my website. So if you want, I can actually send that in the chat right now, just for anybody who might want to see it later. So I think if you click that, it should say at the top, this session is being recorded. So you can go and watch that later. And I'll also be emailing all of the slides after this. So yeah. Now let's begin with cyber threats. But just for a quick update, can you guys go ahead and put in the chat, have you ever witnessed or seen, experienced an example of an online threat? This could be like a phone call, a fishy email, a text message, anything like that. So remember, if you don't have anything, that's okay. But I just kind of want to know since it's a pretty common thing. Like personally for me, I get many messages every single day, like random phone numbers asking me to about the DMV, stuff like that. Yeah, it's a pretty common thing. Okay. Okay. So yeah, even me too. I also get a lot of messages. Okay, and remember, if you have any questions, just you can raise your hand or you can also put it in the chat. Okay, so what is a cyber threat and how does it affect us? So, a cyber threat is any possible danger that could damage or steal your data, your device, or even your identity. So, some common cyber threats that you may have heard about are phishing attacks or malware. And in the next few slides, we're going to be going over eight different threats. And I know that's a lot, but it's not like you have to memorize anything. It's just truly for educational purposes. AI fake Amazon package. Oh my God, I've actually gotten something. I've gotten an email once from fake Amazon. It was very, very similar to this. So yeah, everybody wants to look in the chat. Srihan said about a fake Amazon package that you can get free rewards. That is definitely a scam. Okay, so let's go over the first set of cyber threats. So the first one is phishing attacks. So the phishing attacks is probably pretty common and the one you guys are probably the most familiar with. And these include fake emails or messages that try to trick you into clicking bad links. And these links can prompt you to enter personal information, which can get saved onto their database or they can download bad malware. And for example, you might have received a random email, like someone said in the chat about Amazon. You could might have gotten an email from anyone. It could have been from a DMV company asking you to reset your password. And those are really common examples of scams who are trying to make you enter in your DMV credentials, and then the scammer can use that to get access to all kinds of things like your driver's license and other kind of important information. And remember, most DMVs, they don't really send you emails like that. If anything, you would see that error or you would see that warning on the actual DMV website. Okay, number two, malware. So malware is a type of software that can infect your computer, such as a virus, worms, or spyware. So malware, something that was kind of scary is that it can read your keystrokes. And keystrokes are basically if malware gets downloaded onto your computer when you're typing, it could basically just track and read everything you're typing. And it does this to gain private information and can hack all of your accounts. And it can basically get access to all your usernames, all your passwords that you use, and all the websites that you're accessing. And malware basically gets downloaded onto your computer when you click on a bad link. And those are usually prompted in phishing attacks. So, how can I stay safe from phishing attacks and how can I identify one? So, here are some things you can keep in mind. Number one, don't trust unexpected links. If an email or a message says that like your Amazon password needs to be reset, don't click on the link. Instead, go to the actual website or app, see what it says there, because normally the same warning message should be there too. Okay, number two, look for grammar errors and misspellings. Phishing attacks are getting better and smarter though every day, so there's actually a pretty slim chance you'll find a grammar error, but spelling errors are very common, and you might see them in the email address or just the company that they're referring to. Number three, again, look at the email address. The email addresses are going to look very, very similar to the actual email address, making it very hard to figure out if it's actually like legitimate or not. And one thing you can do is you can search up the actual email address of, the company that they're claiming to be and just making sure that it matches. And additionally, what's really important to note is that there might be like slight altercations, like they might substitute an I for an L, and you might not notice that. Okay, number four, look for personalization. Actual emails, like an actual email, will most likely use like your name or the email that you used when you signed up for that, website. Because, hackers, it's not like they know every single thing about you, they're trying to figure that out. So just look for personalization. And if you kind of see like this picture right here, sorry, it's kind of big. This is an example of a phishing email. And this brings me to number five. Almost all phishing emails will like have like a link right here that will try and redirect you to like another website that probably the scammer created. And what you can do to see if like these links are actually like safe or not, if you hover over the link on your like on your email browser, on the bottom left corner, the whole URL should appear. And again, double check that URL very, very carefully to see if it's the actual one. So what we can do is a quick activity right now. This is actually a phishing attack checker where you can like paste a message and it'll basically analyze it and tell you if it's a scam or not. And it also gives you like some general tips. So I can like go over this. Like I said, dear customer, please reset your Amazon password ASAP. It's a pretty bad message, but it automatically tells me like what exactly is very suspicious about this and tells you what you should be looking out for and tells you what it found and things that you should be doing if you do receive a suspicious message. So again, don't click anything, verify with the actual organization, report it, delete the message, and if you already clicked, what you can do. So if you want, I can give you guys a couple minutes to try this out. You can put maybe if you ever received a message, a scam message, you can put it in here or just create your own and kind of see what it says. Okay, guys, I think we can start again. So yeah, so it's pretty accurate. It can basically tell you what exactly what it thinks is pretty fishy. So okay, let's continue. So now we're going to be kind of doing a little activity. So when I was like making these slideshows, I basically found this like game and it's basically a phishing attack quiz and it was created by this company Jigsaw, which is on Google, and it basically gives you like sample email and text messages and your job is to basically identify if something is a scam or if it's legitimate. And now what I will say though is that they do expect you to like do like research on the email and like on the phone number and search it up and make sure it's like actually like the actual one, but we don't have like that much time. So you guys can maybe just go through and just skim through it, see how you do with just like very general basic knowledge because most likely when you do receive these messages, you are in a hurry and you're not going to be spending so much time on one email. So I'll maybe give you guys like 3 minutes to do it, and I'll also do it in the background. I'll show you right here. Let me put this in the chat. Okay, yeah, and it's actually pretty cool, and it's kind of hard. Like when I was doing it, I was getting things wrong. So yeah, we'll come back in a couple minutes. I'll do it too, and then we can just share what we all got. Sorry, I was muted, but I know That wasn't a lot of time, but just till where you guys got, how did you guys do? Because I didn't finish either, but so far I got to like question 7. I had gotten one wrong. So what about you guys? 2 out of 5? Yeah, it's okay. It is hard. Like there is a lot of them that I kind of just said fishing for randomly. One? Oh, I'm doing it. Okay. Let's continue. Oh, 6 out of 10. Wow, it's not bad at all. Okay. So now let's continue with our threats. So this is our second part. So ransomware is when a virus locks your files on your device and requires an amount of money to be paid to access them again. So to know if you have ransomware on your device, you might notice some of your files getting randomly deleted or altered with. Number 4, social engineering. So social engineering is basically just manipulation. It is where it basically includes tricking people into giving up information to gain control over a computer system or to steal someone's information. And now for our third set. So, DDoS attacks, and these are also known as distributed denial of service attacks. And these are attempts to disrupt the normal traffic of a server by overwhelming that server with a lot of traffic, and that causes the website to crash. And the reason why you do this is because when you're when the website crashes, that basically leaves a lot of open vulnerabilities, which can make it easy to hack. Oh, wow, 8 out of 10. Very good. Okay, and also these disruptions can be very costly to fix, and that can be very, harmful to the company whose websites that is. And number 6, we have a man-in-the-middle attack. So we kind of saw this type of attack in the last session, which was about cryptography. So a cyber attack is where criminals insert themselves between two people who are communicating, or between a person and a website, in order to try and steal data. And so this is a more visual representation of a man in the middle attack. So if you're here in the last session again, you might recognize this. So imagine this, like let's say Adam and Sally, they're texting each other like normal. But now let's say a hacker is able to intercept their network, and now they can see what they're texting about and maybe even change what, the exact messages that they're sending to one another. And that's exactly what a man in the middle attack is. Now, I kind of want to know what new threat did you guys learn about so far? So, because we went over a lot, we've already went over 6. So just a quick reminder, we've gone over like phishing, malware, ransomware, social engineering, and then DDoS, and then now this one, man in the middle. Social engineering? Nice, nice. Okay, phishing. Yeah, phishing is definitely like one of the more common ones, and it can basically be seen everywhere. Okay, so now we're actually going to be going over another example of phishing. So, we're going to be going over smishing now, and this is basically short for SMS phishing. So this is a type of cyber attack that uses deceptive text messages into tricking people to clicking bad links, downloading malware, and giving up sensitive information. So it's basically the whole like getting, emails from fake companies, but this time you're basically getting them on text messages. So, you might receive unknown text recipients asking you to confirm a purchase or reset your password. So those are all examples of smishing. And number 8, juice jacking, which personally, when I first learned about this, was kind of shocking to me. It's basically G-shocking is basically where a cyber attack where hackers compromise public USB charging ports. And these charging ports are literally everywhere. You can see them in hotels and airports and cafes, and they do this to steal personal data or install malware on any device that you connect to that outlet. So, that's pretty interesting. Now, I know this can seem a little bit overwhelming because there's so many different attacks out there, but there are some simple and but really important protective measures that one can take to stay safe from all of these threats. The first being to make your password strong. If your password is strong enough, you may never really have to encounter any of these problems. So make sure you do have a good mix of upper and lowercase letters, symbols and numbers, and yeah, and don't use common words or phrases. Number two, use two-factor authentication. So this is a process that requires users to provide two different types of identification to access an account or system. And I honestly think this is super important because let's say you do fall for a phishing attack and they get your username and password. You know, two-factor authentication still requires one more additional layer. So there's an extra, there's a little more chance that the hacker won't actually get into your account. Number three, report any suspicious messages. If you ever do get a phishing attempt, whether it's an email or text message, the best thing you can do is to delete it and report it right away because you're protecting yourself and you're also protecting others from receiving a similar message. Number four, back up your files. This is really important for a ransomware attack because, in a ransomware attack, you won't have access to your files unless you want to pay a lot of money. And even if you did get your files back, they might be deleted or altered. So backing up your files basically creates like a copy of all the data on your device. So let's say you do lose everything, you can like bring back all of your stuff because it's backed up. Lastly, or not lastly, number second to last, keep your software up to date. Newer software models can actually help to prevent malware and other attacks, and older software might not have the capabilities to do so, which is why updating your phone, your iPad, your laptop, those are all really important things. And lastly, number six, use antiviruses. Antivirus software can protect devices from malware like viruses and also can protect them from ransomware. And it does this by like detecting the virus and quarantining the device and removing all of the malicious code. Now, to wrap things up for our first section, we're going to be getting into our recap. So, the first thing that we covered are what are cyber threats, and we learned that cyber threats are possible dangers that can damage or steal your device. The second thing was we covered examples of all of the different cyber threats. We learned about 8 of them. And our last thing today was how to stay safe from all of these threats, and some protective measures we can do are, using strong passwords, two-factor authentication, and reporting messages, and so much more. Now we're going to be moving on to cybersecurity careers, but just before we move on, which threat that we just learned about out of all of the 8 surprised you the most? Because personally, for me, when I first learned about all this, juice jacking surprised me the most, and that's where hackers compromise the USB charging ports. Yeah, juice jacking. Because personally, for me, I've plugged in all my devices in random USB charging ports without really thinking twice, and that can actually be kind of dangerous. So, okay. Now, this section of the webinar is going to be a little bit different than the other ones just because we're mainly going to be switching away from focusing to awareness and now being able to take action. And additionally, I'll also be showing you guys some interesting cybersecurity jobs and all about them and how you can start building cybersecurity skills. We'll also be going over real-world impact of people in cybersecurity, how to get more experience, and finally, the future. Okay, so let's start with careers. And just a quick, public service announcement. There are tons of cybersecurity related careers out there, and I'm only going to be going over 5 of them, but let's get started. So the first one are penetration testers. So penetration testers identify any weaknesses in a cybersecurity system and then give suggestions on how to make those systems stronger. So they purposely try to break into systems and try and see how easy or hard it is to do so, and then, give advice on how to make them stronger. So you're basically a professional hacker. So if you think hacking is cool, maybe this could be the job for you. Number two, cryptographers. So cryptographers, they protect information by encrypting and decrypting data using complex ciphers in order to hide information. Number three, cyber forensics professional. This one interests me the most. So these are professionals who try and investigate digital evidence to uncover facts about cyber crimes. And they also work really closely with like law enforcement and they do a lot of legal work. So you can think about like being like the Sherlock Holmes, but in the digital world instead of the physical world. So basically solving crimes online. Number four, cybersecurity engineers. So these are people who are the ones who actually develop like the systems through the hardware side, such as actually coding the system. So this is where a coding background can come into handy. So if you like coding, the that more technical stuff, this could be the job for you. And now lastly, we have cybersecurity architects. So these people are similar to engineers, but they do more of the designing on how to keep the system safe, while the engineers do more of like the building, I'd say. And this is, again, just an introduction to the many, many careers that are out there. And if you're interested in going more specific or exploring some other careers, there's a link right here, which you can actually explore a lot more careers. So why don't we take like 3-ish minutes to just kind of explore them, and then you can put in the chat which one interested you the most, because there's a lot of really cool, interesting ones. And this like website also, it tells you like what bachelor, like what degree you need, the median salary, job growth. So, yeah, so you can take a couple minutes and just look at that. Oh, and also I think if you click on like each career, it tells you like the specific skills as well and like what the job does. Okay, guys, you can guys come on back. So, which career did you guys like the most? So, personally, oh, we already have a few. Cybersecurity architect, database administrator. Those are all very interesting. Personally, for me, I really like digital forensics analyst, and there was also like cybercrime investigator. I really like stuff to do with crime, if you can't tell. Multidiscipline language analyst. Wow, it's very interesting. So yeah, there's like a lot of careers, and it also just goes to show that cybersecurity is still a very, diverse field, and you can like really incorporate like a lot of things that you enjoy just into one job. Okay, let's move on. Quantum computing researcher. Wow. Okay, so let's go over some skills that are needed. So you don't have to be an expert in hacking if you're interested in cybersecurity. Some skills that cybersecurity professionals need to have, though, are problem-solving skills, curiosity, and coding. And there are obviously many more like advanced skills like network security, cloud security, risk management, and those are, again, they're more advanced and things that you will probably learn in your call if you continue.
Trisha, we can't see your screen.
Oh, can you guys see it now? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, okay, I was saying that these are skills that are pretty advanced and things that you will just continue to learn in your college and school path if you do choose to continue learning about cybersecurity. And coding, however, is a very helpful skill to know, and you don't need to be a complete master of it. Just knowing the basics on how to code, such as simple commands or making simple apps, will help you understand how cybersecurity works and can even set you up for being a better cybersecurity engineer. So let's talk about some real-world impact and how being interested in cybersecurity can actually put you a step ahead of everybody else. So in 2016, a 10-year-old boy, literally only 10 years old, he found a bug on Instagram that allowed you to delete other people's comments. And he was awarded $10,000 just for like, reporting that bug. And this is a really good example of how cybersecurity skills and just cybersecurity in general can be applied literally everywhere, and how you can get paid a lot just for using those skills before actually entering the workforce. And so if anyone wants to kind of like learn a little bit more about, the whole story about this kid, I can put in the chat. It's a news article. Okay, let's keep going. So lastly, we're going to be talking about the future of cybersecurity. And so now I'm gonna try and see if I can put a quick poll in the chat. So there should be a poll in the chat. Is cybersecurity something you see yourself ever doing in the future? And remember, you can always say no, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But yeah, so we'll give it another minute. Almost all the responses. Okay, so it's like 75% of you guys said yes. So I can share those results. So not bad actually. Okay, now, why is cybersecurity important in our society? So we've gone over this quite a couple times, but this is mainly just talking about like why is wanting to become a cybersecurity professional important? Well, firstly, there are millions of unfilled cybersecurity spots. And you may know that computer science degrees were becoming very, very popular, like a decade ago. But and like no long longer than a decade ago. But some people, even after like securing a computer science degree, they're struggling to find jobs. But this doesn't necessarily mean that a computer science degree is useless. It just means that you should shift your focus from creating digital systems to protecting them, because now we have AI who can do all the creating. Additionally, cybersecurity is one of the fastest growing careers today, and it has a growth rate with almost 12%. And through this chart below, we can also see like the rapid increase and the rapid demand for cybersecurity professionals. Lastly, there is an increase in cyber threats and hackers in digital systems. So the world needs more protectors in the field. Because if our society is going to heavily rely on computer systems, then we also need to have really, really good security. Now, the future of cybersecurity is really bright. So let's dive a little bit deeper. Firstly, AI is being incorporated into almost every single field, including cybersecurity. Hackers are being able to use AI to write very realistic phishing emails, automate password cracking, create deep fakes, and scam videos. And this is actually something I want to talk a little bit more about. People are being able to use platforms such as Sora AI. So I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but you can basically create hyper realistic videos using this platform. And this can actually be very problematic because it can spread a lot of misinformation and it can mislead a lot of people, especially, during crucial times where social media is utilized a lot, like for example, during political campaigns. And also, just using similar platforms, scammers are being able to automate or generate like realistic audio recordings and even video recordings to make it seem like you're talking to an actual person when you're not. And can be kind of scary because it can be very easy to fall for. But defenders are also using AI, and they're using AI to be able to detect threats faster, to stop phishing before it even comes to your email inbox, and to find bugs in code, and many, many more applications for it. And eventually, AI will have even more roles and will help even more people protect their data. Secondly, there are many new places where cybersecurity can be incorporated. And one really good example is self-driving cars. So self-driving cars, they hold a lot of information. But that means that they're also at a really high risk of being hacked. So think about it, like I'm sure most of us have heard of Waymo, the self-driving cars that are like roaming the streets of like San Francisco and like other busy cities. But imagine if the network that those self-driving cars are using gets hacked. That means that bad people have control of all of those cars. And that can be very, very dangerous in like such big cities. And it can cause a lot of chaos. And also, smart homes need a lot of protection, as every light bulb, every thermostat, those are all targets. And for anyone here who's into gaming, like, you know how much information that gaming platforms store about you, or even metaverse, how much information it stores. So they're all areas that we need cybersecurity professionals to take action and protect them. And lastly, the government is also starting to take a lot more action. Countries use a lot of cybersecurity to protect their infrastructure, and there are definitely a lot of new laws that are being created to protect all of its citizens' data. So hopefully I inspired you in like some way to maybe take some action if you're interested in having a future career in cybersecurity. But if you really are interested, here are some ways you can start taking action and just start building up skills like right now. And the first being to like explore websites such as Code Academy or App Lab. Both of these websites, they teach you like the basics of programming, and you can App Lab actually allows you to also create personalized apps by designing the user interface, and it's actually really, really easy. And even if you don't know how to code, if you're familiar with Scratch, which uses like block programming, you can use that there. The next thing I would really recommend is to join clubs. There's like popular ones like Girls Who Code, but most schools also just have normal coding clubs or maybe even a cybersecurity club. And if your school doesn't offer one, then you can start one. And, for anyone thinking about college, this also shows colleges a lot of initiative if you truly are interested. And lastly, if you really want to take your passion, your interest like a step further, you can join competitions like Cyber Patriot or the USA Cybersecurity Olympiad. And these ones are definitely a lot more difficult and they're like you need a lot of skills in cybersecurity, but it's no harm to just try new things out. And to close off this webinar series, we'll do our last and final recap. So, number one, what are some examples of cybersecurity careers? So today we learned that about a lot of careers, but we went over five, which were the penetration testers, cryptographers, forensic experts, and then the cybersecurity engineers and architects. Number two, what skills do I need and how can I gain some experience? So some helpful skills to know in cybersecurity are coding, and you can get these just through basic YouTube tutorials, or you could use, apps like Code Academy. And number three, what does the future of cybersecurity look like? So the future of cybersecurity is pretty bright, involving AI, and cybersecurity is also being incorporated in many ways, many different platforms, and even in our government. Now, before any of you guys just leave quite yet, I'm gonna be giving like the attendance form on the next slide, and also on that form, there will be a chance for you guys to like submit like a short testimonial or review if you guys enjoyed the session, just so I had something to share for others if I ever want to do something like this similar in the future. So yeah, but before I get it out, anyone have any final questions? You can put it in the chat. But if not, out of all of the sessions, out of everything that I've gone over, what was your favorite topic to learn about? So we went over a lot, I know some people weren't here for all of it, but just anything that you learned, introduction to cybersecurity, data breaches, cryptography, cyber threats, the future, careers, anything at all, which one was your favorite? My personally is cryptography. Cyber threats. Photography. Yeah, me too. Photography. Nice, nice. Okay. Cyber threats. Okay, perfect. So yeah, now I'll give you guys that quick attendance form, and then that's also how I can just track the attendance for like the certificates. And yeah, there it will ask for a small review testimonial. You don't have to do it, obviously, but you can do it if you want, and you can also be featured on my website if you want to. It's optional though. And it should be very quick, like less than a minute if you don't want to write anything. But yeah, it'll be very greatly appreciated for anyone who does it. It'll be very helpful for anything I want to do in the future. So yeah, that's it. Thank you all so much for coming. I'm very, very grateful, and I hope you guys learned a lot. I'll be sending out the recording later today or like either tomorrow, and I'll provide all of the slides as well. And yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your summer. Thank you guys. Bye.